You're killing me, Smalls.
We making movies, no acting in. I'm fucking Instagram action shit. UPS shipping packages. I'm smoking weed out them packages. If I ain't got a gun, I'm stabbing it. I got some leftover lean in the cabinet. I can hit your little hoe when she happy. Poke on that pussy shit like it's a top in it. We making movies, no acting in. I'm fucking Instagram action shit. UPS doing the packaging. I'm smoking good ass weed out them packages. I can't lie 'cause I ain't capping it.
Welcome back to the DNA Podcast. It's your boy D.
And it's your boy Antonio. Let's get to it.
To honor Black History Month, we fucked up the last episode, but it worked. It worked. We're going to discuss racism in NFL, and mainly directed towards Brian Flores is suing their asses. And, I guess we'll work backwards. When you heard about this, what was like your immediate thoughts?
So when I first saw the headline, I was like, this is not going to go anywhere. We already saw how, how Cap ended up playing out, even though Cap technically won that. I figured he wasn't going to go anywhere. He wasn't going to get anywhere with his lawsuit, and it was just going to be a blip on the radar. And then I started reading into it and like watching some videos on it and like what his case that he's built. I'm gonna leave that there.
When I heard of it, I thought he shot his coaching career in the foot. Might not be wrong about it.
Oh yeah, he probably did.
But I thought he shot his coaching career in the foot for no reason. This is not the first time where this has been brought up. And I was just like, bro, you're one of the best free agent coaches out there. And it's just like, damn, you threw it kind of all away. But, after reading it, he's winning something. Mm-hmm. Even if it's I don't even believe he'll take it, but even if it's a token job to say that we gave it to you on the back end, but he's winning something because that evidence is damning. Mm-hmm. And so I guess to break down the evidence, one of the key pieces he got, Brian Flores. He's used to be the defensive coordinator for the Patriots. I believe between 2013, 2017, something of that nature. So he's real good friends with Bill Belichick. And so he was set to interview for the New York Giants on the 27th. He received a text from Bill Belichick on the 24th, congratulating him on getting the job. As you can tell from the text exchange, he's thrown off, but I think he's kind of excited because, like, damn, they like me that good. Like, it was like, oh, what you talking about? Like, I think I maybe read too much in it, but I felt like reading it was just like, damn, they like me like that.
Nah, so how I read the messages was like, it was more like, what do you mean? Are you? And then eventually he asks, like, are you texting the right Brian?
And then that's when I think his name's Albo or Dabo.
I can't remember his name.
I'm gonna say Abbott. God damn it! But like he texts Brian Abbott, and this does not help. I don't even know why Bill did this. He does not help when he texts, "Oh, I fucked up." Yes, you did. Like we know you did, but you.
And then what made it fucking weird, he put BB at the bottom, like Bill Belichick. Like he signed the text. Why do old people do that shit?
I swear to
Why
God.
do they do that shit?
Maybe it's an old school thing. This is so random. But I was watching clips on why Hulk Hogan is a piece of trash. And his Twitter account is one of them. But he always signs off HH. I think with love, HH. Why? And these are his Twitter. This is all his tweets.
I think it's just an old thing. Like, like write letters and you put sincerely.
And so, like, this text message to somebody who does not know, you would think, what does that prove? A guy got the job. This proves that they've made their decision long before they even hired him.
Yep.
And this shows that they have no real interest in interviewing black people for the head coaches positions. And the only thing working against them for this one piece of evidence is that they did interview another black guy like a week or two before. That's the only thing that
but
completely works against this.
bare minimum, it's just bad hiring practices to be like, we're gonna still have you come in for an interview, even if we already know who we're gonna choose. Now, you should, you can do that. I did it at my job recently, but we did not make it known. We didn't tell anybody. The only people who knew were the people who made that decision. And we were choosing between people who already worked for us.
The truth of the matter is, you said it's bad business practice. There's no job in America that's salaried that doesn't go down like that. There's not a single.
Well, I mean, if you're putting out an ad for a salary position, it's one thing if you're hiring from within, right?
Yeah.
But like if you're putting out an ad for a position, then you have to see those ads through, my guy.
No, and that's what they were doing. Like to what you said,
I'm
they
just
were
saying,
seeing it through.
You shouldn't. I think you should not make your decision on who gets the job before you do that.
Oh no, I 100% agree on that. But that's the bullshit and the racism we face in America. Hell, there's some jobs that I've gotten. This is so fucked up, and this is the truth. I've gotten some jobs before they posted the ad. They only posted the ad because they have to.
Yeah, I mean,
so
that was my jobs recently. The two I just got, yeah.
I was about to say, like, so I had the job. They made up their minds, and it was a done deal. But they still made me go through the interview process, and it was complete sham because I had the job, and we just did it just to kill time and on record to say we did it. So I know it from that perspective, and it's complete bullshit. And sports is a microcosm in society. If you haven't heard it before, you're hearing it from me. Sports normally imitates life. And there's racism in real life. There's racism in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think because it's real people who run the NFL, right? Mm-hmm. And real people be racist. Mm-hmm. So, like...
And so, with his evidence, this is one key evidence to text messages. He also has text messages from his former team. His former team that was complete shit when he got there. They got progressively better every single year. I think he was there for 4 years, maybe 3, but his last 2 records were 9-8 and 10-6.
Winning records
for the Dolphins, and they suck.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't have had those records. They were playing way above their skill level to get those records. To non-sports fans who kind of wonder, like, what does it even mean? That 9-8 season, they easily should have lost 5 more games. They easily should have only won 4 games. It was due to coaching why they even got that shit. But he has documentation that the owner was willing to pay him $1,000, $100,000,
yeah,
to throw the games. Take away the racism portion of it, but we're going to focus on that after. That's tampering. That should get the owner fired. Just for That's actual tamper.
The owner should have to sell the franchise.
Yeah, because you're
fixing games.
That's as close to fixing games as you're ever really going to get to
without actually fixing the game. Yeah.
And so he fixed games. Bring the racism part back into this. We talked about it off camera, but since he's suing, and I think he had in his mind to sue when he was let go, me personally, I would have lost the game to take the money, but it would have hurt his case because it would have portrayed him as a bad coach. Mm-hmm. He was in a lose-lose situation anyway. He was not keeping that job with anything less than a Super Bowl. Because if they are paying you, because I believe in my heart of hearts, they would have paid him to lose those games and fired him for having an ass team. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And most people wondered why they let him go after he did so well with the team. He hasn't revealed these, but let the text messages come out. They fired you because you were too good at your job. Mm-hmm.
My thing is, like, when bad teams, like, I understand the idea of tanking, right? Like, you tank so you can get a better draft picks. But like, what's the point of tanking multiple years in a row? The point of tanking is so you can get better draft picks, right? You get better players so you can make your team better. But why would you do it for years and years and years and years and years when you're going to end up players are going to want transfers, to be traded, you're going to go into free agency, they're going to leave.
The problem is that they keep making bad draft picks, which also falls under bad management because it's like you can tank as much as you want. I know the Philadelphia 76ers, they actually had a problem with this. And the NBA system isn't like the NFL. The NFL system is the people with the worst records. They do it by record to see which pick you get. So if you have the worst record, you get the number one pick. The NFL is a lottery system. They take the top 10 worst teams and pull them out of literally like the little, like the lottery on TV. They literally pull those so you can have the worst record and get the 10th pick. So it's less advantageous.
Yeah.
But the 76ers tanked from 05 to 2011, 2012, just because they kept making they kept getting quality picks. They just kept making bad decisions.
Kept drafting the wrong people.
And so now they're back in the same position of, we tanked and have nothing, so we might as well keep tanking until we get something. And that's how they're literally, their whole identity now is called trust the process. Their process was tanking. And I don't outwardly think tanking should be frowned upon.
I think if your season's already fucked, like you're halfway through the season and you're fucked already.
Yeah.
Well, let's not play too hard.
And it's one thing. It's a weird, if you're tanking with your starters, that's one thing. But where the 76ers was catching flack was they were tanking from opening nights. They didn't even put forth effort to be good. And some tanking can take the forms of taking the starters out, playing with backups when people are perfectly healthy. The Rockets are tanking. The Rockets currently are tanking. How do I know that? They have a healthy $40 million player who's begging to play, but they don't want him to play because they don't want to risk him getting injured. And he's been healthy for about a year and some change now. They're just
that's tanking.
That's
Come on, my guy.
That's dead. That's dead ass. It's actually he's actually became a sympathetic figure of just get rid of him. Just release him. He just wants to play. But that's tanking, and I have no problem tanking when your season is fucked. Mm-hmm. If we halfway through the season, I have one win. Bro, if I win the rest of the games, I'm going nowhere.
Yeah, I'm not going to make it to the playoffs anyway.
So I might as well just...
Yeah.
And so, if I didn't believe that the coach, Brian Flores, would get fired, I would have thought he was a dummy for not tanking. He didn't like his quarterback. Team needed a little bit of a boost. The Dolphins might have, been an advantageous spot tanking. But Brian Flores is a smart man. On the flip side, if we show what we can do, if we show some progress, we might be able to lure free agents here. Free agents don't want to go to a team that only won 3 games.
But, I mean, and on a completely selfish note, on Brian's point, if he was to tank and he went to go get another job somewhere else, they're going to look at what your record was and see how many games you won, how many games you've lost. And if you've been tanking the whole time, you can say we've been tanking, but, no one's going to take that. So now you basically fucked your resume up for a team that you're no longer with. I don't think that's a good idea.
Y'all would think that we discussed this shit beforehand, and we do not. What's that point? He coached the Cleveland Browns all through our high school years. He has came out and said the Browns organization prioritized draft picks and draft position over winning. He's the coach that went 0-16 to get Baker Mayfield, and his record is horrendous. Hearing that, and he says he has documentation from the owner to basically tank. He has not gotten a head coaching job since. He's actually a laughingstock in the NFL because of his coaching record. And truth of the matter is, he won't get another head coaching job.
Oh, no.
Not because he's not good, because of what Antonio just said. And so there's there's I forgot the word of history, but the legal term, but precedent. There's precedent set already that the owner will tell you one thing and fire your butt and make you the scapegoat on the back end. So I applaud Brian for not selling out for money, and he also have text messages of the owner doing more illegal activity. I'm not going to say the player because we don't know, but you know when I tell you the story, the owner organized an illegal yacht trip with a player who was sitting out for the season. He wasn't eligible to play. And they organized a yacht trip to discuss a possible trade for him to Miami, which is completely illegal. And Brian Flores got off the yacht because if that was to be found out, he would lose his job immediately and he would have been shamed. Now, if you know anything about football and what's going on, you know what player would be ineligible but a highly sought after prospect. One, Deshaun Watson. It hasn't been said, but we know that's the person. That's the person.
Yeah, damn.
and he says he has verification on this. The coach would be fired for tanking and tampering. Those are the two worst things you can do as a franchise in competitive sports. You literally cannot do anything much worse than those two. You could do bad things, but not worse.
Yeah, like you also got to think like Brady and Belichick got caught cheating twice.
Yep.
They still got jobs.
Yep.
Well, Brady retired now, but they still got jobs.
Yep. You're fixing games and you're illegally meeting with players. One, I don't think you're allowed to meet on yachts like that anyway while the season is going on with another player.
You can't do it during the season.
And you damn sure can't do it with an eligible player because what makes him ineligible is he cannot be involved in team activity of any sort. When you're suspended from a franchise, you can't even come work out in the building. You're suspended. You have to stay as far away as possible. So doing this whole thing is completely illegal. And I completely respect Brian Flores for standing on his morals. So many other people would have folded, would have taken the trip, would have lost, would have done what needed to be done, and just been asked out. Even now, he really didn't need to sue, but in his statement, he's acknowledged that he probably won't ever coach again, but he's doing this for the better. He's sacrificing his career to better the future. So, in other terms, he became a martyr for the cause, and I respect him. He's well intelligent. He was one or two on all the list of coaches. There was 8 vacancies. 3 are filled, and the leading candidates are all white guys. He was one of 2 people at the very top of the list of people who should have been hired. The number 2 guy didn't get picked. He's a black guy. And this goes more, I think he's going to join, I think personally he should join a lawsuit. His name is Eric Bieniemy. He's offensive coordinator of the Chiefs. For the past 2-3 years, the Chiefs had a damn good offense to me.
Fucking great.
But what the NFL does to diminish black people, I can make a compilation clip of them doing this specifically for black people. When black people do well in coordinator jobs, because most of the time to get a coaching job, you need to be a coordinator.
Something. Yeah.
When a black guy is a coordinator and the team is doing well, it's the players. It's the coordinator isn't doing much. He has Patrick Mahomes. He has Tyreek Hill. He has Travis Kelce.
He still has to give them the right plays, the right. You know what I'm saying? But even like, that's totally true. But even on the players front, whenever a player who's black shows some skill, it's like, oh, he's extremely athletic.
He's extremely athletic.
He's he's a freak. He's this. He's that. It's not. He's smart.
He's skilled. He's
calculating. He's this and that. And that's how they describe the white quarterbacks, the white players. So
I'm gonna get on that subject right after. Plenty of offensive coordinators from New England has gotten jobs. I should have the list. I do not. But their coordinator, Josh Daniels, anybody that knows McDaniels, knows he went to the Broncos. He's the guy who drafted Tim Tebow. His tenure there was so bad that they do not mention him in Broncos lore. Shannon Sharp has said that on TV. They don't even like mentioning his name in the building. He was so damn bad. He was Tom Brady's coordinator in New England, left for 2 years, and became coordinator again. He has a job now. He's getting a head coaching job in Las Vegas. Nobody has once said that he had Tom Brady and Gronk. He's had
That definitely fucking helped him.
He's had Tom Brady. For my money, he was exposed with Denver when he went like 8 and like 20 without Tom Brady. But these aren't white guys don't get those arguments used against them. Oh, he's a damn good coordinator. You see how New England's offense look, this or that. But Brady's the GOAT quarterback. I mean, shit, it look good if you got the GOAT quarterback. Like,
he's literally playing with cheat codes. Like,
and so none of his past tenure is brought up, and that's bullshit. But to flip on the player side, bro, that's all you ever hear. Black players like Tyreek Hill or Lamar Jackson. You know what make them good? Them boys fast. Not that, Lamar has a good arm. He's accurate enough to win MVP. Tyreek Hill has great footwork.
And I mean, this is going to tell you how much I like Lamar. We are both Steelers fans, and the Ravens are our, sworn enemies. He's my favorite quarterback.
There's nothing not to like about Lamar Jackson.
He has a great story. He can do it all on the field. I'm pretty sure he can throw the ball and catch if you tried hard enough.
And do you know what's funny about that statement? It's the rise of the black quarterback is a new thing. Mm-hmm. Most people would think it started at Michael Vick. For my money, it started with Donovan McNabb, which was only like 2 or 3 years before Vick. Mm-hmm. What they would do for black quarterbacks in college is make them transfer to wide receiver because they weren't smart enough to run the offense. Mm-hmm. That's how it's looked. And how does that affect now? Man, the league is 70%. I think it's 78% black. Man, y'all can play that. If y'all can play football, we just don't think y'all good enough to coach the whole team.
Yep. We don't think you're good enough to own the team. Yeah. But speaking of we talked about high schoolers going into college and having to change their position. Mm. That literally happened to the state champion quarterback from high school.
They made him switch to running back.
I can't remember what position he switched to. I didn't follow that heavy, but they made him switch.
That's what they do. Oh, you run fast. You should be receiver. But
and he played like Lamar.
And that's what they do. Actually, for facts, and I'm gonna pull the article up right now. Lamar Jackson was told to switch to receiver. He was drafted like 21st, and they said that hurt his. They was like, once he get drafted high, maybe he should try out for receiver. And he stood on his ground. I'm not trying out for receiver. I never played a day in my life, so why would I?
Why would I go to another position?
If I try out for receiver and suck at it, y'all just gonna say I'm a poor NFL player. Mm-hmm. And so these are small things that are done towards black people that we never. Well, we don't complain about it outwardly. We just
ball that shit up.
And we just do as we're told. We ball out, and it always seems like the goalpost keeps getting moved back. Because like what I said before with coaches, you just had to be a coordinator. You just had to be a coordinator to get a job. That's it. If you're a coordinator on a good team, you got a job. That's how the hierarchy was. The Giants' ex-coach was a fucking special teams coach. That shit's not even respected. He wasn't even good enough to be coordinator, and they gave him a job. One of the top finalists for the 5 remaining jobs for the Houston Texans was a fucking high school coach last year.
No way.
No coaching experience.
No way. I did not see that.
Has no coaching experience.
That's fucking
above
crazy.
High school. He's a leading candidate.
What the fuck?
But Brian Flores cannot find a job. He's a proven coach. Eric Bieniemy cannot find a job. He's a proven coordinator. Do you know how bad it's gotten for Eric Bieniemy? His coach had to come out and declare him pretty much qualified to do the job. And most people look at it like his coach supports him. No coach has ever needed to do that
before.
for their coordinator. No coach has ever had to, because he came out and was like, I'm not calling the plays, he's calling the plays. He does this, he does that. No coach ever had to justify a coordinator doing his job. And he still don't got shit. And he still doesn't.
That's like getting the best reference you could possibly ever get and not getting the job.
Andy Reid is one of the most well-respected coaches in the league.
That's like having Obama as a reference and be like, nah.
It's getting comical. And what happens is, and some white coaches experience this, but it happens to black more. It's like new is better. And the longer you don't get it, there's a stigma on you that something is wrong. And it sounds stupid, but it kind of makes sense. I wouldn't live by this, but like the longer you go without getting a head coaching job, the other organizations start to think,
why do you not have it?
Maybe there's something I don't know about them. And I only know that because Shannon Sharp told the story of his coach with the Broncos, Mike Shanahan, old white guy. It took him like 15 years. And after like 8 or 9 years, they were like saying back then that he just probably won't get, like it just probably won't happen. Yeah. Like it was just a surprise that he got a job, and thank God he was good at it. But it becomes one of those things that once it starts happening, it actually becomes comical of, y'all actually not going to give him a job. If he does not get a job this year, I just don't see him getting a job.
I think he has, depending on how long this lawsuit drags out, right?
Yeah.
I think they have maybe 2 seasons without getting a job for them, and then it's over.
So this is how I look at it. The Kansas City Chiefs, we know what they have been. And I know he's been there for the past 4 years. I think he's been there longer, but don't quote me on that. The Kansas City Chiefs finished in the AFC Championship, lost to the Patriots once. Won the Super Bowl next year. Went to the Super Bowl, lost to Tampa Bay. Finished this year in the AFC Championship. There's only going backwards record-wise. Like, they could keep going to the AFC Championship and doing whatever, but there's no getting better. There's only getting worse.
They're at the, not the...
They're pretty much at the top.
They're at the top.
That's
the top
the best
of the
4-year run that you really... So what happens if they get worse? Not even worse. It's like, what happens if they don't make the AFC Championship? Oh, they starting to slip. And see, his coaching ain't all that. It's just like, if this is the pinnacle, I feel like once, just normal, just let's say reality. I mean, it's been 4 years, so in reality, they're good. But let's just say they cool down. They're going to pin that on him. Like, like, see, he wasn't that good. Those 4 years was the players, but you see now he couldn't keep it up, but you didn't see the 4 years of excellence.
Yeah, 4 years of being at the top of the heap.
Truthfully, and this is not surprising to me, there's been precedents set. Mentioned Hugh Jackson, Marvin Lewis, Bengals coach. He the Bengals now won a playoff game for the first time since the 90s. I think since 89. And they're I think they won a playoff game since like 91, and their first Super Bowl since like 88. But before then, they weren't making playoffs. Marvin Lewis black head coach, led them to like 3 or 4 playoff appearances. And they got bounced out the first round every single time.
Or at least they made it.
But if you watch those games, they should have won. Just players that stupid shit. Like, I know you remember the game when AB got smacked and they set up the field goal. They had the game won. The dumbass nigga shouldn't have. Like, if he doesn't do nothing, they win the game.
Yep.
And there's a couple of games like that where they were, like, in perfect position to win. They just do stupid shit. His record, I believe, is like 131-65.
That's a fucking good record.
Once he lost the Bengals job, he has not been hired since. And he lost that job about 3 or 4 years ago.
That's a good record.
It's a great record.
Come on.
I think they said in NFL, just doubling your doubling your loss total is like GOAT status. Like, if you can do that, then you're GOAT status. So that means most people don't double their record.
Yeah.
And he did it. And he can't find a job because he's only known as a guy who got the Bengals to the playoffs but can't win a game. What?
At a certain point, you gotta stop looking at the coaches and be like, okay, well, I mean, because like, yes, you know, a coach is a very important position, and their role does determine a win or a loss a lot of times. But also, there's so many other factors. You have all your other coaching staff, your coordinators and such. You have all, I don't know how many players are on the sidelines for a game. Like,
Let's say the rosters are 55.
55? Yeah. Okay. So you have 55 other people who can throw a game for you. And you can be making the right calls.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Most people who watch the games this year know that Patrick Mahomes was off. Great play calling. Plays was there. Patrick Mahomes just won't make it. He's not a bad quarterback. He was just off.
he had a bad year.
That doesn't make it the enemy's fault. Y'all are openly admitting that the play call was good. The quarterback just didn't execute. So, like, you're openly giving the coordinator that's like literal praise. Like, he drew that bitch up good. The quarterback just gotta hit it. What more? How much more praise can you give an individual when doing that? I can go into so many more recent ones. The Texans vacancy. They had a black head coach for 1 year and let him go. Most people are outraged that they let him go in 1 year. But if you go into the details of the Texans, if you know what's going on with them, their star player isn't there. Yeah, we know why the star player isn't there. He's ineligible. Y'all released the man after 1 year when he didn't even have his best player. The coach before lasted 3 or 4 years, and he actually sabotaged the team. He traded their best receiver for nothing. He traded their best receiver because he got yelled at for disrespecting him. Bro, I shit you not. That's why he traded him. He said, and this is, his ass was a racist. He said, something, pretty much like, it's not an honor to have all those baby mamas. Or something of like, I don't want your baby mamas coming to practice or the game. So pretty much everybody else's could, but it was a problem for me. Like, what does that even mean? Like, how do you even fix yourself to say that to somebody? And he got cussed out, and he sent him packing, and it's just like, that's weak. Traded J.J. Watt for nothing.
That was an awful trade.
They traded a top tackle because the owner said something racist, and the tackle spoke out against it and traded him for nothing. So you actively let him disintegrate this roster for 3 years. Hired the black guy, and this is literally a token black guy hiring. Just because last year was in the same predicament of black guys not getting positions, they hired him and fired him in a year. And the man is 65. This is his first coaching job. It took him all this time just to get one. And it sucks because, like, it wasn't even a fair
And then, like,
shake.
you also got to think, like, at 65, how fresh is his... I'm not saying old people can't do it. Just, like, the game's changed since you were in your prime.
You look at it like that. I look at it more as how many more on the back end is he actually getting?
He might only get 3 years anyway. Realistically.
And it's just like, the guy worked so hard. I think they said he was a coordinator for like 30 years just to get this bullshit ass thing. And it's like, this is ongoing. This isn't 20 years ago. This isn't, certain isolated incidents. This is a known thing. It's a known thing that John Gruden, the coach of the Raiders, was sending racist and sexist emails to owners. This is a known thing. Like, but this gets swept under the rug, and John Gruden was the fall guy. Did he do it? Yes. But
they put him on the cross for their sins.
Because the owners are every owner who received those emails from him
and didn't say shit,
they are just at
fault.
Yep. It was boys club. They were laughing and kiki-kikiing all the same.
Until they got caught.
Yep.
Yep.
Right now, the NFL's looking like, yeah, man, the Dolphins, you fucked up. No, y'all are actually iced this man out. It's easier from the focus on the Dolphins and the Giants because he has proof, but he's suing the NFL because it's obvious.
Because the thing is that the NFL, like each franchise is their own company, kind of.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, all these 32 companies operate as one big company.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You're all still trying to generate money for the big company.
Mm-hmm.
So you all operate by the same rules. Y'all all know each other.
It's a glorified boys club.
It's a, you know what I'm saying? It's so him suing the NFL makes total sense.
Yeah.
Because if the Dolphins and the Giants are playing by these rules, the rest of you motherfuckers playing by these rules too. Let's not be.
I told Antonio this off camera. I've never seen a black head coach lose his job and get another job. It was like when we were talking about Brian Flores off camera. Something, oh yeah, he was a good coach. Even if he didn't sue, I doubt that he ever got a job again. That's just the trend of somehow black coaches don't get second jobs. And we can go over some ways to fix it. I haven't thought of it. But there is no ways to fix it because there's a rule enforced. Like they put forth a rule in 2003 to try to help this. And for a short period, it did.
I don't think it did the way you think it did.
So
I think it definitely gave the black coaches more of a look.
Mm-hmm.
It helped some, but if anything, it's gotten worse since the rule got in place. It got better for a short period, and then it went basically back to the same shit.
And it's weird how it happened because me saying it worked, it did work just about immediately. So it was instituted in 2003. I believe in 2012, 2013, it was the most black and minority coaches ever at one point. I think there was 9. Mind you, that's 9 out of 32. But it's the most at one point. So it's if you keep building off of it, should have been more.
I mean, I guess if there's 13, if that's 13% of 32, that's fair in a weird way.
It's
kinda.
That's fair. But when 70% of the players are black,
yeah.
But to go from 2013 to now we're back down, there's only one minority head coach. It's only so. How did you go from a high number to just systematically back down? I mean, I don't have to ask how. I know how. They hide behind and other corporations. This is not an NFL thing. This is a society thing. They hide behind phrases such as, we were just picking the best for the job or the most qualified for the job. But it's always funny that it's people that look like them that seem to be the most qualified to seem the best fit for the position.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel like that's the issue. And, I'm sure you've experienced that same system of choosing.
We were talking in the car, and I have fact without having fact that I have not found a full-time job because I'm black, and I'm gonna start from the beginning when the pandemic first hit. Couldn't get interviews. I know you remember me telling. Can't even get callbacks. I switched my name to just D. Wilson, and I get a call back every time now. Kind of odd, but it was during the pandemic, so I can use the excuse that
they weren't hiring, then they started hiring.
Yeah, I'm starting to get callbacks. I aced the callback part. If I'm answering questions wrong, they
wouldn't take you to the next phase.
I can get to phase 2 and 3 at however many phone interviews there are. I do great in. Some people be like, so what's the problem? Since I was about 8 or 9, I've been told over the phone I sound like a white person. My mother tells me that. And so it's it doesn't offend me, but if that's what my own mother thinks, I can only imagine what the interviewer is thinking. It's oh, we like this guy. He sounds white. So it's everything goes well. I have not been able to secure a job after coming in. And part of me thinks that I'm answering the questions wrong. But, and this is where the fact and there's no fact, if I'm answering the questions so poorly, why am I getting so many phone interviews? If that makes any sense. Like, if I'm bad at answering the questions, I wouldn't make it to phase 2. I wouldn't make it to phase 3. I wouldn't make it into coming in. But I've never moved past coming in. Like, coming in is where it ends for me. And I've probably done, last year, the 2021 circuit, probably went in for 25 interviews. And that's not even just phone interviews. That's going in for interviews. I will say 10 or 15 I answered the questions poorly. I don't believe that, but I will give it the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
It's no way that the other 10 I couldn't find one. And I've accepted that, and I'm just applying more. And that's kind of why the podcast you see an uptick in, because part of me is starting to believe that just may never happen for me. But I know for facts it's because I'm black.
And it doesn't help that you're like 6'3".
That's also I'm a bigger guy than
yeah.
most normal people.
Yeah.
So
But the beard does not help.
The beard to me makes me look more I thought about, no bullshit, bro, I thought of cutting my beard off. I've cut my hair off plenty of times during the pandemic just to look more professional. I had an afro. I loved my afro. I cut it off just for the hopes of possibly securing a job, and that's not it. And it's just,
yeah. I think that's really shitty that you have to conform to society just to try to get a job. Like, you have to conform how we have our hair. It's the way our hair grows naturally, right?
White people are so surprised when I tell them, like, some white people I know, we love your hair, this and that, and you shouldn't have cut it off. You can like it, but I'm probably not getting a job because of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, it's just me and my fro right now is kind of it's a silent protest.
And it's one of those things that, like, when I tell people, if we start protesting, that's what we do, and I'll die for the cause. But, like, there's no protest going on. And so I got to bite the bullet and cut my damn hair off. My hairline's fucked up. Not now, but I had to go get that bitch fixed again. Because for some odd reason, whenever I cut my damn hair off, it doesn't look right.
Well, it's because...
And so, yeah. So I know from firsthand experience. I know also because my resume is actually so great that I should be applying for positions. I apply for positions of all calibers, but I can't get positions that are actually beneath me. Like I can't get positions that I'm actually, like, it's in my field, but I'm more than qualified for it. Like, I could be the boss of the person given doing this damn role. I can't get those. So they can hide behind the experience. Have 3 or 4 years now. I've actually gotten pretty damn good at what I do. Like, I'm actually proud of everything that I'm able to do now. They can hide behind the lack of different stuff. I've worked with a baker. I've worked with a sports company. I've worked with a financial company, all in marketing. I've worked with a university in their sports departments. There's not much more that they can really be done.
You've kind of touched all the different marketing sectors that you can get into.
I've worked big events. I've worked small events. I've worked X, Y, and Z.
You've worked big companies. You've worked small companies. Yeah. You've done it all.
Went from startups, worked big companies. It's just, there's nothing. There is more there's always more you can do. I always believe in that. Mm-hmm. But at a certain point, all that I'm doing has to be enough, though. Like, yeah. Come on. After a while, somebody just got to give me a chance.
Yep.
That's just the bottom line.
I think it's so shitty that it all relies, but I think that's what's really fucked up with America, though. Is like, we claim that we're a meritocracy, and the fact that, like, if you work hard, and you put the work in, and you have all the accolades and the experience or whatever, you are going to be successful. But if I'm putting in all this hard work, effort in this, and I'm still struggling the way that you're struggling, that doesn't make fucking sense. We're not a meritocracy.
It makes my anger grow every day, and that's why I become less and less American as days go on, because people will hear that and it's like, oh, fucking leave then. Bro, the way things are, I might as well. Like, it's pretty much I can't be myself to get what I want, but I'm trying to be y'all and still can't get what I want. So basically, this ain't, it's a living, but is it really like living to is it ever really going to be what I want? Unless I, make my own business. We always push to make your own business, but it kind of sucks that's
as really the only way for me to get ahead.
Yeah.
It's like, and like, I've gotten a pretty fair shake in these last few years. I'm not going to lie. But I will say that recently, the reason why I'm in the position I am now is because my old black sous chef gave me a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And, gave me the reference for this job. And it just happened to work out that I ended up, moving up. But because they saw how hard I was working and how all the work I was putting in,
mm-hmm.
how good I was. But if I didn't have that first chance, I really didn't have I had the skills. I didn't have the experience to take it.
Yeah. Do you know what's fucked up more? And it's like, it's all about who you know. I can't get much into most of the jobs that I get. I'm the most experienced because of, well, look at my resume. And so the people up under me are like damn college kids. So I don't even bump really shoulders
with people that you need to bump shoulders with.
Yeah. So like, it's no, like, I don't mind working my way up. Now, after the past few years, I will be kind of pissed if I got to work my way up from the bottom, but I have no problem doing that. But like, it's one thing to do it in the kitchen, which I'm not knocking at all. But it's like, there's, you go find a kitchen and try to work your way up. I can even meet people. I can even get to the bottom to show people, oh, he works hard to do it. And it's just, that's all when people ask me, and no bullshit, they always ask, why should we pick you? If you pick me, I will never cheat the system. I will never cheat you on work. Like, and that I will get there first, I will leave last. That's a cliche that people say, but I'm in a point where I dead ass mean it. If the bitch opens up at 7, I'll be there at 6:30. And just like, and this goes into also the racism aspect. It's not really giving me an option, but to work extra damn hard to prove that I deserve the damn thing.
Yeah, and like, at my last place of employment, somebody got a promotion over me when they were asking me questions on how to do stuff.
Oh yeah, it was literally boys club where you went. Male managers was incompetent as shit. All of them.
And it was just like, he's asking me how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
He's asking me what's the right technique. You know what I'm saying? And like, he has way more experience than me. Like, he's been in the game longer than me, but I know more.
I feel like
that's a problem.
That's more damning. Like, it's not damning that he has significantly more experience than him. It's damning that he has all this experience and still don't know that means he's not doing nothing with it.
Yeah, it's like for me, if like, especially in my field, like in food, if you want to be a great chef, you have to be studying. You have to see what's the newest shit out. You have to see what's the trends. You have to see, and you don't have to follow those trends, but you have to see what's hot and be like, okay, how can I take this trend and make it an actual, well-constructed dish? How do you got to figure out new ways to plate, new ways to do plate designs, all that fun. You have to figure all that out and keep constantly stepping your game up, because if you don't, you get stuck in 1993 in your plating and in your food, and you get boring ass food. Like, you have to be good.
Yeah.
You have to keep going. And like, And if you're not doing that, if you don't know how to do something and you've been in the game for 15 years, that's an issue.
Yeah, and race plays a part of that. Not saying that all white people do that, but I've seen from firsthand in that situation that you even mentioned, people hire their friends instead of the most qualified. And most qualified for me means they could do the fucking job. Not you could have done this job for 30 years. It don't make you the most qualified. Hiring the most qualified to me is hiring literally the best candidate, but they hire their friends. And I mean, in some instances, giving your friend a look isn't bad. We all look out for our friends. But sometimes it's evident they're not good for the job.
Yeah.
I talk shit about my Hornets job a lot, rightfully so, because I hate this more. I hate these type of managers more than lazy hourly employees. Lazy hourly employees I understand because they don't make enough to give a fuck. No,
That's what it is.
I had this manager over top of me. He never shuts the fuck up about all these accomplishments, about all these
Oh man, that's the fucking worst.
about all these fucking promotions he's gotten, where he's been to, this and that. He was the most incompetent motherfucker I have ever seen in my life. Like,
Literally my life.
like I can tell from how bad he was, how high up he is. He's friends with higher ups, or he's friends with people in positions, because it was actually piss poor. I would have lost. If speaking out against him would have cost me my job, I would have, because he's that bad of a manager, and he's gotten promoted since then. How do I know he got promoted? Because he oversees the building I fucking work at now.
Really?
Yes.
Fuck.
He oversees more than that. He oversees, I think, all of Compass in Charlotte.
What the fuck? Man.
And-
I thought mine was bad. That would have really stung me.
He somehow keeps. I was able to get a slight dig at him because I'm technically in a lower position. Not technically, I'm in a lower position than where I was at. If I would have never even, like, say, like I would have done nothing, I would be at a higher position. And he tried to talk to me like we were friends. He know I don't like that motherfucker. Something like, basically it was like, why are you here? Why don't you do X, Y, and Z? I didn't enjoy my job then. And I didn't say much more. I did. You can marinate on. I didn't enjoy my job so much. I took a roll back because I just didn't want to put up with y'all shit. That's how much I dislike that job. That's where we left it. And the motherfucker hasn't talked to me since. He knows I don't like him, but that's boys club mentality. He doesn't need to be good.
Yeah.
To keep getting these promotions.
That's shitty.
And that's how mediocrity is. That's why these franchises in the NFL that suck keep sucking. They keep going for what they know. They go for people who look like them, people who like what they like, do this and that, but aren't good at the fucking job. That's the reason why the Jaguars suck. That's the reason why the Browns, with all this damn talent they got, still suck.
Bro, the Browns have a fucking loaded roster.
The Browns was people's Super Bowl picks and couldn't make the playoffs. Because they keep hiring these unqualified people that look like them. You see that. You see that mediocrity just keep, and then you wonder, why do they keep sucking? Why does a business keep failing even though they sell products that people like? Why does this keep going out of business? Because the true definition of insanity is keep doing the same shit and expecting a different outcome.
Yep.
Like,
True shit.
and it's just damning. It's damning that it's gotten to this, and I'm for anybody that sues anything. Any company can probably get sued for racism.
Yeah, I mean, now you're gonna have to come with them receipts, and that's the hard part.
Yeah. You're going to have proof, but I'm not doubting that every company, if that company has company in its name, that bitch was racist. I promise.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I want you to start your own marketing company, but I also know that shit ain't easy.
And it's only not easy. And this is just the weird part because, like, I 100% am going to do that, and I'm actually planning on setting my apartment up as kind of like a pseudo marketing place, but gotta have money to do that shit.
That's the hardest part about starting your own business. Like, you have to have startup capital, and if you don't have someone who's going to invest in your business, you know what I'm saying? What the fuck are you gonna do about it?
And you could take small steps, which I've been doing. So like now, I just need a few like shits, because like I've already gotten some stuff that'll get me by it and do whatever. But yeah, it's just like that's also the bullshit on experience in America. Especially on certain when it comes to chefing, you could actually do stuff at your house. Like, I'm not saying, be the best you can be, but you can look at videos. You can imitate.
You can do your research and get pretty good. You can be a good home cook.
I have done the same with YouTube videos, but it gets pretty fucking hard to do stuff on my own with software that I do not own. I'm not paying hundreds of dollars of software to learn stuff
that you might not even use.
And not only not even use, but like companies should... At this point, if companies don't teach me, they should at least like give me a little crash course quickly, because the shit ain't hard per se. Yeah, like if a place told me, "Oh, you've been using Canva, well, we need you to switch over to Adobe," you gonna provide it? Yeah, bro. I bet I learned that bitch in a week. I've been testing it out now since I have it. But like, if you give me something, if you hire me, I'm gonna fucking stay up for a week and I'm gonna play around, look at videos. I'm gonna do what I need to do to figure it out. So. But buying up all this, boom, 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 boom. No, you
can't do that.
Yeah, yeah. And we always get to a point where like, oh, what would we do different? And I hate to sound like a pessimist, but I just don't know. If I knew what to do different, I would have a job. Don't know. I don't know what to tell other people, because it's just you got to get lucky.
Well, I think the moral of the story is that us as black people have to do our own shit, and that fucking it doesn't necessarily suck, but it sucks. Like you can't just be a part of society and coast through life like everybody else does.
It sucks to have to always work so goddamn hard.
Yep, but ultimately, we just have to start starting our own shit, starting our own companies. Hiring within the company, doing all this other stuff.
And most people don't know what support black business really means, because like there's such an outrage about paying for overpriced stuff, which I have a problem too with, and I don't do that shit either. But sometimes support is more than just paying for something. You have to support it in a way just to, get recognition out, to make people see you, see your product as equal to other.
Even if it's just following that company on Instagram and liking all their pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you can't afford to buy their products, but you like their product, just follow them on Instagram and like their pictures. That'll get them put on more people's explore pages. Mm-hmm. That, you know what I'm saying? That will boost their presence in the social media realm. Share their shit. If you like a black creator, like
subscribe
to their shit.
Yeah.
Like a video, share it. Do stuff that's going to help them grow, even if you cannot give them a monetary gain.
And that's the true definition of supporting. There are black businesses out there who think supporting is only buying, and they're lost. That's not support. If that's the support you're looking for, you're never going to make it. Support is the stuff that you can do that's not monetary. Stuff that's the free stuff you can do, the stuff that doesn't take efforts to do, and it puts black businesses up. Like if a black business get 3 million followers in a night, nobody can deny the authenticity, the officialness of the business. Nobody can deny them.
And bare minimum, that will get them some investors in the door. That will get them, you know what I'm saying?
Sponsors.
A sponsor, something. And you were talking about things being expensive. But the reason why things cost more and from a small business in general is because they're not working with economy of scale. So the bigger the company is, the cheaper they can make the product for, so they can sell it for a lower price.
Mm-hmm. And there's always power in mass production.
And if I'm a small company, and typically small companies use better quality product to begin with, their ingredients are typically better. They're, whatever they're making their product out of tends to be a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
So you're paying for quality, but you're also you have to pay the imperceivable tax of a small business, and it's just part of the game.
Sometimes it's worth biting the bullet. I've done it for friends plenty of times. I've done it for plenty of times. I've done it for shit that I just didn't want to, but I've had extra money, and it just was like, I could use this extra money to spend it on some stupid shit I'll never remember, or just did my part. I just did my part. I'm not saying that, that one time I did it 6 months ago is my part in society. It's like, did my damn thing. Y'all, it's up to y'all, man. But everybody has a part to play, and it's a small part. You just gotta do your part. And it puts us in better positions to where we're not dependent on these companies. Because guess what? If when you support a small business, it turns into a big business. Guess what that big business needs? Employees. When you support a black business and it gets big, guess what type of employees those big businesses hire more of? Black employees. So it's a never-ending cycle of supports that will always trickle down. And it's also about sacrifice. Sometimes you have to be willing to sacrifice now for the betterment of the future. Mm-hmm. Brian Flores is doing it. Brian Flores probably is not going to have another head coaching job in his life, and he's a young coach. I think he's 42 at most, but I don't even think he cracked 40.
I think the best he's going to get is maybe a college spot. And maybe.
Yeah. It's sometimes you have to go out like that. It's Black History Month. So a good example is Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. They've made the ultimate sacrifice to put their future ancestors, I guess. Descendants, yeah. To put their descendants in better places. To put people that's their brothers, not by blood, but by race, in better positions. They didn't get to eat the fruits of their labor. It sucks. The one thing about this world that I figured out, black, white, Asian, most of the time, black, white, Asian, other races, there's other races. Most of the time, you don't really get to enjoy the fruits of your labor in this world. Most artists die before their art is really appreciated. Musicians are the same way. Nowadays they get a little bit more praise. Yeah. But even still, even bigger names, I know for a fact Juice WRLD was not as hot when he was alive.
That's because it was trendy to be like, oh, Juice WRLD. And
that's how I feel now, but still, he's getting all these platinum records and these awards that he wasn't even, in the running for alive. And so, yeah.
That's true.
It may suck. It may suck that all the work that we put forward, in this podcast, me and Antonio don't get shit from it. Our kids find a way to do something and they rake it in. It's not gonna suck because it's our kids, but it's gonna be like, damn, all that hard work and niggas ain't get shit. But sometimes that's what happens that way. Yeah.
And how I see this podcast right now is that we're putting all this work in now, and we'll have this catalog forever. So when we start making money from this, we'll always be making money from this.
I've that ass, bro. Always looked at it whenever we're expanding, and so we need a media guy now. Well, not media, but a technician now. And so we're opening a little bit more positions for people that need it. Of course, we're not paying because we're not making nothing. But when we actually grow, and the day that we do have kids, where we have after school jobs for the damn kids. You won't be that damn boom operator. Don't you drop that damn boom either. Yeah. You're going to do this. And so we're giving, not only are we going to have monetary wealth for the kids, we're going to have actual experience and skills to give them so they can figure out what the fuck they want to do later in life.
If they want to follow in our footsteps and go into media, they can do that. If they want to be more on the producer side, they can do that. If they find that they're really good at editing videos, they have a career path. Mm-hmm. You gotta give your people something to grow out of.
Yeah, and people don't look at it that way. People who sell clothes now, not making a lot of money. Well, you're making something, and that's good. Keep it up, a lot of stuff is going to come. And before you know it, you have a little daughter, a little son helping you make those clothes. And they become great at making clothes, and making clothes become their thing. And they can help with the business. They can make their own business. They have achieved a skill.
They can fuck around and turn your company into Gucci.
Yeah.
And now you're Gucci.
Just because it was something that you like and you passed down to them. And we don't know what the future holds. Man, 20 years ago, this social media shit was not even a thought. Like, this wasn't, you couldn't even, radio's the closest thing, and radio barely, no, it directly transfer over. But like, it's not something that you thought, what am I, a podcast? I'm gonna do online this, online that. So these simple skills you pass down, and take away kids, because we don't know when the hell we're having kids. But take away kids out the equation. We could be interns. Yeah. It could be this or that. If they use these skills that we give them to do something that I can't even possibly conceive right now. And it's just like, damn, you learned all that from editing the videos on my podcast. You learned all that from writing the script. You learned all that from doing the audio. And now you became something.
You're working on Hollywood movies. You're doing this, you're doing that. Like, that could be the jumping pad, but you just have to give people a chance. Mm-hmm. You have to give people who an opportunity to make something of themselves. Mm-hmm. And
my favorite thing in sports, I always hate when people want to always bring up you had this, you had that. In sports, all the great plays are made from people given a chance. Eli beating Tom Brady, making those impossible passes. And guess how those passes were completed? Because Eli gave his receivers a chance. You have to give them a chance. Pittsburgh beating Arizona gave San Antonio a chance. That's how I look at sports. It's never luck. There's no such thing as luck, because you have to have skill to get you there. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes you just got to take a shot in the dark. Sometimes you just got to toss it up and hope it comes down. But it took a lot of skill to put us in this position where tossing it up wins us the game. Yeah. Like, it took so much more previously to get us here.
Even to lose, it takes a lot of skill. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's like, 17% of people make it into college ball, right? Something like that.
Something good like that.
And then
let's say like 25%.
I think it's 17. I think that's the actual number, 17%.
That number dropped since we were in high school.
Exactly. I think it's like 17%, and then I think it's 8% make it into professional leagues.
I know that's lower. I want to say it's like 4. No BS. I think it's 4%.
It's even fucking worse.
Yeah.
So like, you got to think it took a lot of skill for you to even get into the position.
Mm-hmm. And so that's why
lose.
That's why, honest to God, I don't believe in luck. Like, this is no bullshit, and this isn't me trying to be meta, me trying to be overthinking it. There isn't luck. You have to do something to get put in position. Buster Douglas wasn't lucky when he knocked out Mike Tyson. He trained his ass off for the fight. He trained his ass off in his life to do it. It wasn't luck. He trained to do it. Now, did a few things break his way? Yeah. But things can't break your way if you're not in position for it to break your way.
Because if he wasn't good enough, he wouldn't even got the shot at Mike Tyson.
He wouldn't be in the fight. Yeah. Like, he can't knock Mike Tyson out if he don't get the fight for Mike Tyson.
Exactly.
Like, people, that goes over some people's heads. No bullshit. It's like, duh. No, you don't really understand. You have to actually get the fights to be an upset alert.
And like, if you want to talk about a modern fight that was like that, Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua, that Andy Ruiz knocked him out in the first fight.
Yeah.
Beat him.
Yeah.
And he was a fat Mexican kid.
I think,
but he, you know what I'm saying? He had to be pretty fucking good to even get there.
I know the betting favorites was on Anthony Joshua, and it's just like you can't. That's what I don't get. You clown somebody, but like, they had to put in some type of work. To get here.
He was just a chubby Mexican kid.
And so, like, that's why it's easy for me to relate sports to real life. You got to be in position to make your own luck. There isn't just, I was just sitting on the couch one day and, next time I'm here. It really does not work like that.
I've heard some stories like that, though. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But like I've heard some stories like that. It was like, well, yeah, it just kind of fell in my lap. And I was like, how the fuck?
Most of the time,
Yeah,
that's not
most of
going to
the time
happen
it's
to you.
worth like that,
And if you're
but-
black, it's damn sure not really going to happen. So, to circle back and to get to my closing argument, the NFL is racist. As long as racism exists in society, you will see it in sports because sports is a microcosm of society. So it's not surprising to me. I stand with Brian Flores. I actually don't know what he hopes to obtain. Obviously, money, monetary, but
I think
it's
he
more.
wants. I think he wants monetary compensation, but at the same time, he also wants rules and laws in place to make it better, and that's probably more what he wants than just the money.
Shit, that's what the hell I want now. Like, that's what I do want now. So I stand on that. I stand on supporting each other, and I stand on being the best version of you that you can be.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Sometimes you gotta fall on your own sword.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it's life.
We signing out. First time in forever.
Wakanda.
No, Louis, Wakanda forever.
I was like, you gonna say it? No.